Hey guys, just wanted to share a couple of thoughts on um, why temptation is so difficult sometimes, and the chief lie. I think one of the chief lies behind temptation and sin. I think that one of our biggest misconceptions about sin is in the realm of pleasure. Um, Oftentimes we frame it as the way of sin, the way of following my own desires, the way of following, rebelling against God and doing my own thing is the way of pleasure. And the way of Jesus, the way of obedience, the way of following God and His Word is the way of denying pleasure. It is the way of um, saying no to good things and desirable things, and to humbling myself. And, that's how I express faithfulness to God. The reality is, though, the way of sin is not the way of pleasure. The way of sin is the way of perverse pleasure, or the perversion of pleasure. Think about this. Every pleasurable experience you have, every good thing, every pleasant thing, whether it's the emotion of joy or that feeling of love in your heart, or the taste of a delicious cheeseburger, or the warm breeze, or the hot sand under your bare feet, or the sound of birds singing in the morning. Um, any sort of pleasure you can ever imagine, the thrill of freedom, the excitement of good things to come, any pleasant sensation or experience you can ever imagine was conceived of and designed by God. God invented every single experience of pleasure and joy. He invented the sensory experiences. He programmed those sensory experiences of touch and feeling and emotion and taste and hearing and sight, right? God invented all of these details down to the minutia, the feeling of a warm breeze, the hot summer sun. God invented every single pleasant experience, and He programmed it into this world. He created the world in such a way that these experiences may be felt, and life surrounds us with them. God invented all pleasure. God is the God of pleasure. Sin is the way of the distortion of pleasure. It is not the way of pleasure. Sin is the way of distorted and twisted good things. It is taking those things that God has invented and turning them inside out for my own twisted purposes. When we understand that, it completely changes the way we battle our temptation, because it reframes the whole struggle. The struggle against our sin and temptation is not the struggle to say no to pleasure. The struggle against sin and temptation is the struggle to unmask the false promises of our temptations, of our foolish perspectives, and realizing this, and I think this is the key realization for me personally, that God is the key. God is the key to experience all pleasure and good things in life. The key is the one who invented it. To experience all those good things in His presence, in His light, and in His ways is to learn to walk in the fullness of life, is to drink deep of the good stuff. When you understand that, your entire struggle is reframed. Your entire struggle on life, your entire struggle on obedience. Obedience is no longer saying no to the good stuff and, begrudgingly accepting the healthy things that are good for you but don't taste good. Obedience is now the process of learning how to experience the good. It's like that the friend that is, I don't have a lot of experiences, but it's like that friend who is teaching you how to enjoy wine that you've never tasted, you have no palate, or a coffee. Maybe that's a better analogy for us. You don't know how to distinguish good from bad, and that friend is teaching you how to really enjoy the flavors and experiences of this thing. following Jesus is following the one who is like you, but the one who made you, and the one who is here to teach you about how good life can be in his presence. It is about learning to enjoy rightly all of life. And when you understand that, it completely changes the way you battle sin and temptation. And I think that's extremely helpful because it points everything to delight. Life is all about delight, and it's delight with God. He is the one in whose presence you discover all of life. So hopefully that is helpful for you guys.